We'll try to continue with the UCP and try to finish it off today itself somehow. That and so we will touch on the Article 22 Charter Party Bill of Lading. Before that, I will give a little bit of a comparison of Article 20 also as well again, which is the Bill of Lading I discussed the other day. Article 20 is an important article for certain questions. Then Article 23 and 27 important, 28 and 29 again important, 30, 31 and 32. And then if time permits, we'll touch 38 also as well. Which related to 38 of course I have given a grid last time also. This time also I think I have displayed the transferable letter of credit and the back-to-back LC. Now today we'll start on the Charter Party Bill of Lading. Charter Party Bill of Lading. Right. So, Bill of Lading, when you say just Bill of Lading, that is understood as the Marine Bill of Lading or a port-to-port Bill of Lading. Port-to-port Bill of Lading. There's no stoppages, there's no land link or an air link. It's from seaport to seaport, which covers in the Article 20. Article 20. When there are multiple modes of shipments, right? First leg is land, the second leg is sea, again the third leg is land or air, then you need to have a multimodal bill of lading or a combined transport bill of lading, which covers in the Article 90. Right. So bill of lading, that's a marine bill of lading or ocean bill of lading, says. Now, I did the bill of lading last time, but I'm giving a little bit of a summary in that so that I could compare with the Charter Party Bill of Lading and the transport document. In the Bill of Lading, that is the Marine Bill of Lading, which covers in Article 20, says should indicate the carrier. Should indicate the carrier. So the bill of lading in the SPI document should indicate who the carrier is, right? That is, if the carrier is A and P, or P and O, say P and O company, is a famous carrier actually. P and O, Mass American Express line, that line. So P and O. So the bill of lading issued by P&O, just giving the name of the P&O would be suffice. It has to be stated in the elsewhere in the bill of lading, but the carrier P&O, that is to indicate that the name of the carrier is P&O. Right? That's what it says, indicate the carrier. Right. And also you knew, apart from this, bill of lading could be signed by the carrier or the named agent on behalf of the carrier. Or this bill of lading could be signed by a master or named agent on behalf of the master. And the name of the master need not be mentioned, right? But the carrier's name has to be mentioned. And if the agent is signed on behalf of the carrier agent's capacity and the name of the agent has to be mentioned. So these are the things that we learn fundamentally in the bill of lading, Article 20. Right. Apart from this, bill of lading should indicate the port of loading and the port of discharge as per the credit. where the letter of credit says the port of loading and the port of discharge has to be mentioned. Should indicate the port of loading, and the discharge. Port of loading and the port of discharge. Right? Apart from these. Right. Charter party bill of lading. Article 22. Charter party bill of lading. It covers in Article 22. Right. In a charter party bill of lading, remember very carefully, the name of the carrier need not be indicated. The carrier's name need not be indicated. It doesn't state that the carrier's name should be indicated. Right? So it should be signed. So this part is not there, right? So it could be signed by the master. To be signed by the master or a named agent on behalf of the master. It could be signed by the owner. Owner means not the contractual owner, the actual owner. Charter party bill of lading, the person who charters the vessel is the hirer, is the contractual owner. So therefore, owner also can sign. Owner or the agent on behalf of the owner. On behalf of the owner. Or it could be signed by the charterer. It could be signed by the charterer. Okay, the spelling side is CHARTERER, charterer. That is the hirer. Or a name agent on behalf of the charterer. Or a named agent on behalf of the charterer. So bill of lading could be signed. The charter party bill of lading could be signed by 3 parties, and the other bill of lading, that is what we call this marine bill of lading, could be signed by 2 parties. 3 parties or the respective agents on behalf of the party. Master, owner, charterer. And here, carrier's name need not be indicated. So you can't expect the carrier's name in a bill of lading if the bill of lading has a references for charter party. Right? So this is why banks will not encourage to accept charter party bill of lading unless specifically states in the credit charter party bill of lading are acceptable. Documents cannot impose a document bill of lading which have a reference for charter party. Right. I'll give a small example for what charter party is actually. With that example, you will get to know the risk factor where the financial interests are concerned, and then you can figure out why the banks are a bit reluctant to negotiate document when there's a company charter party bill of lading is there. Right. Then you have another transport document called air transport document. If the freight is by air, then you call for the air transport document. air transport document. Air transport document, we call that as a airway bill. Airway bill, AIRWAY, airway bill. This covers in the Article 23. Now, when I say it covers in Article 20, 22, 23, you are supposed to read and understand the articles along with the sketches that you have taken down. Right. So, air transport document, remember, is not a negotiable instrument. It is not a negotiable instrument, remember. Not a negotiable instrument. Right. And if you call this an air transport document, such air transport document or airway bill should indicate the carrier. It should indicate the carrier. Should indicate the carrier. Right? And it could be signed by carrier. To be signed by carrier or a named agent on behalf of the carrier. It could be signed by the carrier or a named agent. Or a named agent, named agent on behalf of the carrier. So there's no question of master coming in between the skies. So you can sign only by the carrier. Right? And also it should indicate that the goods have been accepted for carriage. Apart from the indication of the carrier, it should indicate that the goods have been accepted for carriage. Where should it indicate? In the airway bill. The airway bill is a document we call in case of air transport. Right? Apart from that, there are another must indications that you needed. You need to read the Article 23 and understand and put in point form and study, especially the date of issuance, date of goods that have been accepted for carriage, right? And those are the flight information. Those things have to be indicated in the airway bill document. Article 27. Clean transport document. Clean transport document. Right? Clean transport document means where the bill of lading does not carry any defective condition or clause, any defective condition of the goods or packaging, right? And there should be a defective notation or an expression in the bill of lading. There should not be any defective notation or expression with regard to the goods have been defective, the condition of the goods or the packaging of the goods. Right? And if there's no clause evidencing the bill of lading such as of an adverse clause, then such bill of lading is called a clean transport document. So usually in a credit, we ask for a clean transport bill of lading. Clean transport bill of lading, shipped on board bill of lading means a clean transport bill of lading, in other words. So if you call for a ship on board bill of lading, that implies that we are calling for a clean transport bill of lading. And such bill of lading should not have a what do you call a clause, adverse clause written adversely with regard to the defective condition or the packaging of the goods. Right? Right. So for this article, of course, I will give a small example. Take it down quickly. A bill of lading clause. A bill of lading clause. That means there's a clause being evidenced in the bill of lading. Bill of lading clause. Goods may be subjected to atmospheric conditions. Bill of lading clause, which may be subjected to atmospheric conditions. Don't give that much of weight on this, it came just into my mind. Usually, when there are chemical compositions as goods, when the ship master or the ship captain notices that in particular goods are not being, packed in a protected environment the way that they should have been packed. So he will just foresee during the voyage, because of the duration of the voyage, it might get exposed for atmospheric condition. That is for the pressure, air pressure, and for the salt vapor in the seas, and for the blue rays and red rays by the sunlight. So he just foresees through his experience, and he says at the time the goods being shipped on board the vessel, he didn't see a pilferage or some kind of a warp in the packages or the cartons. But now he knows this is a chemical composition in here. Those are chemical stuff, might get exposed the way that they have been packed. So what he says is, he put a remark on his capacity. Right? As a ship captain, he has all the right to put remarks on a bill of lading. Such bill of lading are called claused bill of lading. So he put this clause, goods may be subjected to atmospheric conditions. Atmospheric conditions. Right? My question is this bill of lading acceptable? Is this bill of lading acceptable? Right. Give me a quick answer in the chat box. The clue is Article 27. So rush the Article 27 quickly. There are 5 lines or 5 or 6 lines in the article. Rush the Article 27 and just tell me whether this is a discrepancy or not. Right, I'm waiting. Huh? Or if somebody wants to talk, you just interact with me. It's all right. I prefer in that way rather than putting yes or no. If you're trying to make an argument or give a logic on the on the speaker, others also could be here.
Yeah, That is not a clean transport.
It is not a clean
document.
transport.
Yeah.
Which college here?
Chanaka.
Fine. So you say that, in other words, you think that there's a little bit of a defective condition in the goods, right?
Yes, that's right.
Right. Thank you very much. Any other what do you call thoughts on that? Thank you, by the way, for getting interacted with me. That gives a little bit of motivation also in type of these classes. Anybody else? Or all others are following? Shanavi is there, I can see. Right. So now we'll read the Article 27 very carefully. The bank will only accept a clean transport document. A clean transport document is one bearing no clause or notation expressly declaring a defective condition of the goods of their packaging. Right? So answer is within that particular clause that I just read. I said, shipmaster has put a clause in the bill of lading. Goods may be subject to the atmospheric condition. It appears on the face of it as if there's a defective condition of the goods. Right? Well, now see, the catch is here. What the article says is a clean transport document is, I'm looking at the article and telling, right? A clean transport document is one bearing no clause or notation expressly declaring. At the time he put the clause, the goods should have been defective. It's true that he has displayed his experience and he has foreseen the goods might get defective. So that's an ambiguous verb in there. It's not expressly declared. So therefore, this bill of lading is acceptable. Understood? Right. So you can figure out and put a could to find in there. Say that particular condition does not give a express declaration that the goods are defective. The particular clause doesn't imply or does not give or does not indicate an express declaration as requested by the Article 27. Therefore, the present bill of lading is acceptable. Right. We'll go for the second scenario. Credit calls for a clean transport document, clean bill of lading. Clean on board bill of lading. Clean on board bill of lading. That's what the credit calls. Bill of lading presented, DL presented, here presented like this. Look carefully. Clean on board bill of lading. Credit call for clean on board bill of lading. Bill of lading presented, clean on board bill of lading, and the word clean bill struck off. The word clean is struck off eligibly. That means you can see this is not much. I can see the word clean underneath the striking. Now this has been seen as alteration. This is an alteration, and for that they have said, they have put a what you call a frank and said alteration authorized. Alteration authorized. And signed by the person who has signed the bill of lading. Right? So Bill of lading submitted, clean on board bill of lading fine, but the word clean means struck off, that is deleted, and the word clean you can see, but it's been deleted, and they have put a what you call a correction approved or alteration approved, authorized frank in there, so that it will not be seen as a mutilation or an altered bill of lading. Bill of lading cannot be altered apparently. So I'm not digging that too much. I'm asking whether it's an unclean bill of lading. In other words, whether this bill of lading acceptable or not. Again, the clue is Article 27. Now interact with me. Yes, I'm waiting. Answering these two lines. Answer is in this particular sentence. A clean transport document is one bearing no clause or notation expressly declaring a defective condition of the goods or packaging. In that you find the answer of mine. Right. If somebody like to interact like the other way in the earlier question, please do so. Or you can, put in a chat saying, my question was whether the bill of lading is acceptable, and if you think that if it is acceptable, just say yes. Otherwise, you just say no. I prefer an interaction of this force because I expect the reason why you are saying that. If not, even doesn't matter. The time consuming otherwise. Yes, anybody can figure out? Print want the clean bill of lading, and the clean bill of lading is submitted all right, but the word clean is cut off. Word clean is cut off. So Sarashika Shashiri says it's not a discrepancy, right? Right. Can you tell the reason why Sachin you are saying it's not a discrepancy? Now you are revert at this thing. I think it is not acceptable. That means a discrepancy. Right. Which will also fall in line with saying that not acceptable. Right. Anyone else? Right. Now see, no, doesn't matter. This is how you learn. The articles are a bit peculiar actually. It's very, sometimes it's very stupid the way that the articles are being. The reason why I'm saying this, right? It's not a very cool cakewalk also. Purposely struck off clean. That's good thing English of yours. You are thinking in a novel way. Purposely struck off clean. Yeah, it's an argument. Now we'll see. Now listen carefully. Now these are the type of questions you might get trapped a little bit. Now see, the credit call for a clean on board bill of lading. Bill of lading presented clean on board bill of lading order. The word clean cut off. So it's a usual tendency as a human instinct to think when the word clean is cut off is unclean. That is the instant feeling that everyone else, including myself, will have. But when you are checking documents, you can't go for such conclusions, such hypothecations. You need to go what you call based on the facts of the articles. Articles are very clear states. Article says, 27 says, if it's an unclean bill of lading, there has to be a defective notation, expressly declare. Look at the 27. Expressly declare. Expressly declare that that the bill of lading should have a defective condition of the packaging of the goods. So just because the word clean is cut, the bill of lading doesn't evidence anything about the defective condition of the packaging of the goods. So we do not know. So therefore this is acceptable. So just because the word clean is cut, right? This is not an unclean bill of lading. Right? It's not an unclean bill of lading. To become an unclean bill of lading, there should be a condition like this: packaging damage. Right? Carton walked off. Then the bottles are oozing off. Then you get a direct hint that the goods have been damaged, a defective condition. And the credit calls for an aluminium beading on cartons. So the captain notices there's no aluminium beading, but there's a hardboard beading. He will say hardboard beading is instead of aluminium beading. Condition of the goods, packaging of the goods. Now you understand. So don't go for logics in here. Go for the real exact extract of the article. Right? I hope you understood that. Right. Article 28, insurance. Insurance document and coverage. Right. So, if a credit asks for a insurance policy, listen carefully. If the credit asks for an insurance policy or a certificate of insurance, such documents could be issued by an insurance company. And that company has to be a kind of a reputed company. That company should be a quoted, reputed company. A kind of repute. Right? So the insurance policy or a certificate would be issued and signed by an insurance company. When I say insurance company, it has to be a kind of a reputed company. It could be signed by the underwriters, right? Underwriters. Or proxy, or by proxy. Right? So, an insurance policy, it be called for a call in the LC, it will be signed and issued and signed by an insurance company, kind of a reputed, or the agents of the insurance company. Underwriters are their agents or their proxies. Proxies mean the people who are having power of attorney or some authority empowered for them to handle proxy, right? For example, if this these are the common word in the proxy, but for you to just to understand what proxy is, now say that you're a plaintiff, you are making a prosecution against somebody, so you file a lodge an entry in the police, then you become the witness, and the police is carrying on with the case against a particular person. So that person has to get defended. For him to defend, he has to hire a lawyer, and the lawyer, on behalf of him, represents the case and defending the particular defendant. So on the authority, the lawyer has that. That's what you call the proxy. So for the lawyer to appear in court on behalf of you, lawyer will give a document for him to sign, for him to appear in court as a proxy. That's what you call a proxy. So insurance documents could be signed or issued and signed by the proxies. Right. And one more thing, there are lots of things you need to know with regard to the insurance document. When I say insurance document, remember that I am discussing on the marine insurance policies. Marine insurance policies, right? The other one is, if a credit calls for an insurance policy, listen carefully or take it down. If a credit calls for an insurance policy, submitting an insurance certificate is not acceptable. I'll repeat again. If the credit calls for an insurance policy, then the beneficiary cannot obtain a certificate of insurance. The insurance certificate is not an actionable instrument. You need to have a policy. But vice versa is not true. If the credit calls for an insurance certificate, submitting an insurance policy is acceptable. Remember, in trade, compliance means not inconsistency. Compliance means it should be what? Fulfill the terms and conditions of the credit. It should be conform to the UCP 600, and it should conform to the international standard banking practice. That's what you call a compliant presentation. So inconsistency, now if you call for a certificate, if we submit a policy, there's a clear evidence of inconsistency. But we accept the document because article doesn't negate that. What the article negates is, if the LC call for an insurance policy, then the beneficiary cannot submit an insurance certificate. I hope that you have taken note probably that. Right. The other one is the date of the insurance. Date of the insurance policy or certificate. Date of the insurance policy or the certificate should be a date on or before the date of shipment, on or before the shipment date. Date of insurance policy should be a date on or before the date of shipment. Right? You can't cover insurance after the date of shipment. If the insurance policy dates the post date of the shipping date, then there should be a clause evidencing the insurance policy saying that this insurance policy which will be effective from the shipment date. There should be a back value clause, retrospective clause. Otherwise, in other circumstances, the insurance policy's date should be a date on or before the date of the shipment. Right. I'm just discussing these sub-articles one by one. So you are supposed to read Article 28 and with the scribble note on the thing that you have written, then you will refresh once you read it. Right. The other one is the insurance policy has to be obtained according to IUA and LMA standards. IUA oblique LMA standards. IUA is International Underwriters Association. International Underwriters Association. LMA is Lloyd Marketing Association. Lloyd, that's a double L there. Lloyd Marketing Association. Right? So that's why I said the insurance policy or the company should be a kind of a repute. A reputed company will always follow the standards. They call the IUA and the LMA standards. Right? This particular aspect is not in the article, but if you recall, it's in the article of the Incoterms A3. Right? Look at the CIF and CIP, you get under A3. A3, you get this. Right. And the other one is, normally a creditor will state what is the markup percent term on the invoice value the insurance should be covered. For example, if the LC is for 100,000, $100,000, CIF, Colombo. Then under LC conditions, they will say insurance has to be covered 10% more on the invoice CIP value, CIF or CIP value, depending on the circumstance. So if the LC is for 100,000, insurance policy sum has to be assured for 10% of the C's 10,000, 110,000. Right? So if the LC is for 100,000, insurance policy, the amount of sum assured or sum insured has to be 110,000. Why is that? LC says 10% of the markup. So applicant will give the bank what is the percentage that he wanted. If he says 20%, then it has to be a 120% markup. Right? If the LC doesn't state the percentage, whether it's 10% or 5% or 20% like that, it doesn't state because it's an optional thing. It's not a compulsory or a mandatory field that the bank has to be filled. And if the bank has kept this part blank, the percent term, then when the insurance policy being obtained by the party or the beneficiary, he has to make sure that he has to take at least 10% of the invoice value. 10% markup on the CIF or CIP value. Right? So minimum of 10% has to be marked up. So it says minimum, there's no maximum limit. Right. Now, to concentrate on the sub-article 28J. 28J, I'll read out for you. An insurance document may indicate that the cover is subject to a franchise or excess deductible. Right. Franchise or excess deductible. So 20J says an insurance document may indicate that the cover is subjected to franchise or excess. So we'll try to understand what is franchise and excess is. Sometimes the insurance policy will say, insurance policy document will say that they reserve the right of 5% franchise. And if they state like that, now we don't mention anything about the LC. We don't mention anything about the LC. But if they state like this, it's alien to the credit. Still we have to accept because of the article, sub-article 28J. That's why this says. So what is franchise now? Franchise means this. That means this particular company, this particular insurance company, where I took as an example, they say, we will honor any claim above 5%. Above 5%. Say, if the value of the goods is $100,000, and during the voyage, the goods got damaged, and the value of the damaged goods is, we say, 4,000. Right? $4,000. Now we say, now if it is 100,000, what is 5% of that? 10% is 10,000. So half of 10,000 is 5,000. So the 5% of 100,000 is 5,000. But the value of the damaged goods is 4,000. So they can't lodge the claim. If it is 6,000, yes, they can. Right? So up to 5% franchise means up to 5% they will not entertain any claims. That's what you call franchise. I hope that you can understand that, right? Then the other one is excess deductible. Excess deductible, they say, we are not like that insurance company where they take a percentage of franchise. We are not like that. We will pay any amount what you claim. Any amount what you claim, we'll claim. We'll pay. Whether it's 1% of the contract value, the LC value, or 10% or whatever percentage, we will pay. But we have a flat fee. We have a standard fee. Say, we have a standard fee of $4,000. $4,000. So, when they run the claim for 4,000, they will not get anything because the flat fee is 4,000 that they take care of. But if they claim 5,000, they will get 1,000 because 4,000 will be taken. If they claim 100,000, they will get 96,000, 4,000 will be taken away. So whatever the amount what they claim, these people will have a flat fee of 4,000. That is what we call deductible or excess. Excess. So that's the difference between franchise and excess. I hope that because of reading the article, you will not get an idea on that. So what is franchise is that where you get a minimum percent term of leeway of including a claim. In the case of an excess or deductible, they will honor any claim irrespective of a percent term, but levy a flat fee for every claim. For every claim. One more thing. Fear is that you will have a misconception here. I said 5% franchise in here. So up to 5% they will not pay. That means if the claim is less than 5%. If they claim for 6,000, in this case, they have to honor 6,000. They will not honor only for 1,000. Franchise means up to 5. So if the claim is up to 5% of the contract value, they will not pay. But if it is more than 5%, they will pay the whole amount. Right? Fearing that you have you might have got confused, I said that. So that's what you call a franchise and excess. Now, this is a bit of an issue. This particular article being given in the Article 20, will be an issue for the bankers. You say the LC value is 1 million or 4 million or $15 million. And if the insurance company says, we have franchise at 5%, and these guys say we have excess of some amount, that will be a huge position of the bank's concern. Right? So therefore, what the bank will do is, bank will try to exclude that clause applying by the insurance company from the text of the LC. Text of the LC, that's a bit technical, but you can take it down if there's a trade practitioner in here. This is why in an insurance clause, when the banks put, you can make a reference and check later. This is the reference. Refer specimen of the LC. Specimen of the LC is the same, but I have given the specimen of the LC. Can you remember? Right. Refer that. And the field 46D. Field 46D. Right? Refer that. And in that you will see the insurance clause. Ending the clause, it says claims payable in Colombo, irrespective of percentage. Irrespective of percentage. So when you say irrespective of percentage, means you are negating the article, sub-article 28J. So in other words, bank will say, this is how you need to draw your insurance policy. It has to be a 10% markup, claims payable in Colombo, irrespective of percentage. That means you can't hold 5% franchise or a flat fee of excess or deductible. Irrespective of percentage, whatever the claim what we make, you have to claim if the goods are being genuinely damaged, if you have the loss or damage. So how the bank will negate the sub-article 20J is by putting a small clause saying irrespective of percentage. You can see this, right? You needn't worry. I'm not telling the forum in whole. You needn't worry of going to this. It's a highly technical place, technical area. But if there's a trade practitioner, one or two in here for their benefit, just go to the specimen of the LC that I have given under 46D. You will find benefit of percentage clause being drafted very carefully so that the 28J will automatically get negated. Now you will wonder on what the authority banks have, right, to exclude certain clauses from the text. Because once you draft the LC, that's the MT 700. Now this is subjected to UCP 600. When you say UCP 600, that is from Article 1 to 39 is subjected to. So how can a bank at their will exclude certain clauses? Then you have to refer the Article 1. Article 1. So I will just rush. I am not requesting you all to go to the Article 1 now, but naturally you should do. I will just rush the Article 1, the relevant page for my convenience. Article 1. Let me read off the book itself. The phrase, if you can figure out the Article 1, that's the first article. Try to figure out the sentence, the phrase that I'm telling you. They are binding on all parties. That's the last sentence I'm talking of. They are binding on all parties thereto, unless expressly modified or excluded by the creditor. So these particular articles are binding in the LC text, unless otherwise it's been modified or expressly excluded from the articles. So that means it says without saying banks have the right to exclude or modify the articles. So it's the article being provided to the bank as an empowerment. So banks being empowered to exclude articles. Article 1, remember, that is why the Article 1 is important. Right. Please raise any queries if you have. with regard to this. If there's any confusion, I know this is not a very easy article, right? It's a bit of a difficult article, but try to understand, right? Article 29. Article 29 deals with the extension of the last day of expiry, right? For presentation. So this means if the expiry date of the credit, falls on the day of presentation, right? If the expiry date, every LC has an expiry and a place of expiry. Remember that. Every LC has an expiry and a place of expiry. You can refer the specimen of the LC again. On the top field, I think it's 3, you get the expiry date and the place of expiry. Right? So expiry date of the credit falls on day of presentation. Say the LC is expired on 3rd of October 2019. So the beneficiary has to rush to the banker on or before the 3rd of October to his bank. They don't negotiate. He can't go on the 4th of October, provided that it's a working day. He can't go on the 4th of October. If we go and submit the documents on the 4th of October, then that will be seen as a LC expired or late presentation. That's the possible discrepancy that the negotiating bank will observe. So therefore, beneficiary cannot, sit on the documents that is will and it's convenient to take the document. So LC has an expiry date, LC has a latest shipment date. So once the goods will be shipped, he gets a bill of lading to his hand. He may have collected the other documents also as bill according to the letter of credit, and he has to rush to his banker on or before the 3rd of October 2019. When he rushes, now LC says expiry on the 3rd of October. When he goes to the bank, it has declared that the bank is closed for business. I'm not talking about Saturday, Sunday. Other than Saturday, Sunday, you get special bank holidays. Where the issuing bank of another country will not aware of that. So, 3rd of October, say this particular bank has declared a holiday. And there's a display in the front gate saying that the bank has closed for business. So, therefore, when we try to submit the document, the bank has closed, security or some person will accept the documents and they will attend the documents on the 4th, provided it's a working day, or else it will on the 5th. So they will accept documents on the 4th, as if that they are treated the documents, deemed to accept the documents on 3rd. So the expiry date could be extended impliedly in that way. There's no amendment required. So beneficiary goes and presents documents on the 3rd, so he's well within his rights to see the bank has already closed for business, or rather it's been declared as a holiday. But he has all the documents, bank cannot function, there's no staff. They will see the document on the 4th. So they will, what they will do, they will treat these documents as if that they are received on the 3rd. So a late percentage will not be cited. But the issuing bank will not know that. No. So if they have the document on the 4th, right? Issuing bank will not know that 3rd is a holiday. So therefore, this bank has to state in their coverage schedule, the documents have presented within validity. I said a lot of things, so you need to be careful when you are taking down. I'll tell again slowly because to dictate, I will not have time that much, right? When the documents are presented on the last day of the expiry of agency, and that particular date is closed for business for the bank to negotiate documents, bank will consider these documents will be received on the previous day. Right? The bank will accept the document on the following day and deem to taken as the document received as document on the previous day. To avoid a discrepancy, date presentation bank will put a notation in the coverage schedule when courier the documents to the issuing bank saying that the documents are presented within validity. Within validity. They needn't tell the reason why they have closed for businesses on the 3rd. That is none of the issuing bank's concern. That is none of the issuing bank's business hours. They will say document presented within validity. Coverage schedule date must be a 4th because they are handling document on the 4th. So coverage schedule date will appear as a 4th. So when you see the documents have been dated on 4th, issuing bank will cite as a discrepancy. To avoid that, they will say document presented within validity. It goes without saying, and don't worry here, look, even though the coverage schedule date dated 4th of October, we got the documents in time. Right? So you didn't bother about the discrepancy. That's what the Article 29A says. Right? 29A and 29B. And one more thing, there's a small exception. I explained the 29A and B together. There's a small exception in 29A, exception. This is how you learn and understand the articles. Go to the exceptions first. There's an exception. I told you, for some reason, that they have closed for business. For some reason, they have closed for business. But that reason should not be a reason, a force majeure. Force majeure will be spelled out in Article 36. That's what the Article 29A says. Right? Force majeure means acts of God, insurrection, right? Acts of terrorism, strikes, lockouts, any causes beyond their control. There are eight reasons for the close of business which spelled out in force majeure. Go to the Article 36. Right? Banks issue no liability for the reason that the bank businesses are closed for terrorism, riots, civil commotion, strikes, lockouts, any causes beyond their control, acts of terrorism. Right? And for that reason, if the bank is closed, this particular exception doesn't apply. So, bank should have had closed for a reason other than the reason spelled out in in Article 36. Right. So, read the Article 29A, B, and 36 and get a good idea. Right. Now, suppose if the now I told you the LC has a latest shipment date and an expiry date. So you get a latest shipment date, and an expiry date. Expiry date could be extended for this reason. For the reason 29A, 29B, and Article 36. If in case if the beneficiary is unable to ship the goods as stipulated in credit, as the rate of shipment date say, data shipment date will say 15th of September. So on or before the 15th of September, he should ship the goods. He can ship the goods on 14th September, 1st September, anything, any date. But he cannot ship after 15th of September. So when he tried to ship the goods on the 15th of September to see the port, that is the port of loading, is closed. Not because of strike. Then in Article 36, no, for some reason it is closed, other than the reason given in the Article 36. Right? So the same way the expiry date was extended, the shipment date cannot be extended. So therefore, if he is unable to ship the goods as typically the letter of credit as the latest shipment date, this will be seen as a discrepancy, a very common discrepancy called what? Late shipment. Right? So you have to read 29A, B, Article 36 and 29C. 29A, B and 36 comes to last day of extension of the presentation. 29C is the extension of the shipment date. Shipment date cannot be extended. Presentation date could be extended on qualification. Right. Article 30. Tolerance. Article 30, tolerance. You remember me mentioning about the tolerance the other day, and I said I will do it in detail when I come to Article 30. It's a bit of a complex article. Try to understand also. There are a few questions being put based on the Article 30. I can't see a reason why they shouldn't put further in future papers also as well. So we understand the article. There are 3 parts in the Article 30. We try to understand what Article 30 is. And I feel that I'm a little bit fast now. If you feel the same thing, just say yes or no. I will try to put myself down a little bit, but don't expect me to give a little dictation unless otherwise so volatile to give a dictation. You have to be with me for a couple of sessions, more than a couple of sessions now. Your fish should be fast, and you should keep pace with me, right? Article 30 will have 3 segments. We need to understand what it is now. With this spell out with regard to tolerance. Tolerance. Right. The words about. Words about. Or approximate. Word about or approximate. Approximately. Word about or approximate gives a tolerance of 10% more. 10% more or 10% less. 10% more or 10% less. On quantity, value, and the unit price. And the unit price to which they refer. To which they refer. That's what the Article 30A says. If you see a word approximately or about or approximately in front of quantity, value or unit price, then for such component, 10% markup or markdown will apply. Example, if the credit says under description of the goods will say with you, under description of the goods, then that means its quantity. It will say about about 200 metric tons of iron sheets. 200 metric tons of iron sheets. And the value of the AC will say $200,000. So AC has opened with the receipts of the goods saying 200 metric tons of iron sheets, about 200 metric tons of iron sheet. And the value of the AC is $200,000. Right? So documents are presented. A. $180 metric tons of iron sheets for US dollars 180,000. B. One 18 metric tons of iron sheets for US $200,000. C. $220 metric tons of iron sheets for US $220,000. Now see, 180 metric tons of iron sheets. That means there's a 10% mark down with regard to quantity of the goods. So this is correct. For US dollars, 180,000. For US dollars, 180,000. Right? Then the value is for 200,000. Value is short drawn. So this part is wrong. And therefore this is wrong. Why? The word about is applied only for the quantity, not for the value. If the LC says instead about 200,000 and about 200 metric ton, then 10% will apply for both. Here it says 280 metric tons of iron sheet. Now when I say 280, the quantity of the goods or the iron sheets could go up to 220. So that is within the 10% of the interval. They can go 10% mark up, plus or minus. So this part is correct. And the LC is static for 200,000. So they have not shut up to 220 or 280. Therefore, this was correct. And therefore, B is right. 200 metric tons of iron sheets, the next one. It's right. Because the word about applies 200 for 200 metric tons. So 10% of 200 is 20. 20 plus 200 is 220. So the quantity could be increased to 220 metric tons or decreased to 180. So within 180 to 220, the goods can come, the quantity. But they have increased the price also as well. They don't have the option of doing that because the tolerance is not extended to the value. So therefore, this part is wrong and therefore this is wrong. So the B is right. Now you understood that? Right. So if you don't understand, or if you didn't understand on the first phase of it, just take a little bit of a pause and try to apply yourself. And I hope that you have taken down this example. Right. Article 30B says a tolerance of 5%. 5%. A tolerance of 5% plus or minus, more or minus will apply, provided, now that is, this is a difficulty in this particular article, provided that the goods are not a kind of a unitized cargo, or in other words, it's not under individual packaging, right? For example, say 100 cartons. So you can count the 100 cartons. It's numerical. You might take a little time. Say 10 million cartons. Still you can count, right? So they are under individual boxes. Carton is a box, right? So 100 boxes, 1,000 bales. You can count, right? Those are unitized cargo. For such cargo, this particular tolerance will not apply. 30B will not apply. Right? Anything to do with the volume. Example, 100 liters. It's a volume. Or something to do with the length. 18 feet, 18 meters, like that. You cannot have a precise length. Sometimes it varies depending on the way that they share it. Even the volumes are getting, now when you say barrel is a measure, right? You get a US barrel and a British barrel, like that you get different measurements on barrel. Usually 45 gallons a barrel. Now we commonly say barrel cannot. Barrel means a measure, it's a unit of measure. But it varies, right? And if there are guys in here, they will be interested in those. Usually 10 barrels is 1 vat. So guys must be knowing what vat is. Vat is a huge casket or a huge barrel, right? So those are measurements actually. And you cannot have a precision on that. They are not unitized cargo. You can't count. So volume, length, anything to do with the weight. Those are imprecise measurements. Not unitized cargo. They are not individual packaging basis. For this type of commodity, this Article 30B applies. What you call the 5% markup or markdown. Right? So I will say here, not individual packing. Right? Or is not unitized cargo. That's another qualification. Provided that's what I said. That's another qualification. Because of this quantity markup, LC should not get overdrawn. When the quantity is marked up and the read price being given, obviously the LC price also will go up. Now the value of the LC will go up. But just because you apply the Article 5 on a quantity, you can reduce the LC value. But you can't have a markup. In other words, LC cannot be overdrawn. LC cannot be overdrawn. Right, these are the two qualifications you find in the Article 30B. 30B is a bit of a complex article, so therefore I will read out for the book itself. It says a tolerance not to exceed 5% more, 5% less, that is 5% plus or minus, than the quantity of the goods is allowed, provided the credit does not state the quantity in terms of a stipulated number of packing units, that means unit cargo. Your credit should not state 1,000 bales, 100 cartons, right? Then 500,000 boxes, like that, on the unit form, right? Or individual items. And the total amount of the drawing does not exceed the amount of the credit. That's the other qualification, amount of the credit. So the drawing should not overdraw the value of the LC. That's why I said LC cannot be overdrawn. Right. Article 30C says, Article 30C says, even when partial shipments are not allowed, even when partial shipments are not allowed, the tolerance not to exceed 5%, not to exceed 5%, not to exceed 5%, less than a what do you call the credit amount permissible, right? That means if the you take an example for this to explain the Article 30C. Credit says 2,000 metric tons at the rate of $1 per metric ton for value 2,000. When it says quantity of the goods is 2,000 metric tons, unit price given as $1 per metric ton, and therefore the value of the AC is $2,000. Now this is the AC. Right. Documents could be presented, right? Document could be presented as per Article 30C like this. Article 30C, document could be presented for 10% of 2,000 is 200. So half of 200 is 100. So the 5% of 2,000 is 1,900. Right? So the LC value could go down to 5%. Up to 5%. It can go to 1,950, like that it can go to, but the maximum should not exceed 5% less drawing. So up to 2,900, the LC value can go down. The bank will not see this as a LC short drawn. But there are three qualifications. Right? One is the shipment should be effected in full. Shipment should be effected in full. Shipment should be effected in full. LC all for 2,000 metric tons. Then the documents also should come for 2,000 metric tons. It cannot have for 1,900 metric tons. So the shipment should be effected in full. And the second one, if there's a unit price being stated, listen carefully or take it down. If there's a unit price being stated, such unit price should not be reduced. In my example, there's a unit price being stated. When the document be presented, if this unit price is visualized, such unit price cannot be reduced to match this. Right? So, if there's a unit price be stated, such unit price should not be reduced. That is the second qualification. Third one, sub-article 30A and the provisions of the article 30B should not apply. You cannot have A and B and then C together. If these two are not applicable, then only 30C applies. And also shipment has to be effected in full. So listen carefully, think carefully, and try to absorb the differences between article 30A, B and C. I just rushed that three articles again. Article 30A says about the two words about and approximate. It be referred in front of as a prefix of quantity, value, unit price. So such a component will have a 10% markup or 10% markdown of the credit. Right? 5% tolerance will be applied plus or minus on quantity, provided the goods are not on individual packaging or in form. And because of the applicability of this article, else it should not be overdrawn. Then there could be a 5% markdown or markup. 30C says 5%, maximum 5%. Less drawing is permissible. Less drawing is permissible. LC is 2000. You can draw the LC for 1900. Documents could be prepared for 1900. Provided the shipment should be effected in full. Shipment should be effected in full, even when past shipments are priced, right? Shipment is effected in full. And if there's a unit price is stated, that means unit price, stating unit price is not necessary all the time. But if there's a unit price be stated in the presented documents, such unit price should not be reduced. And Article 30, provisions of Article 30A and 30B should not be applicable. Right, Article 31, partial drawings or shipments. Partial drawings or shipments, right? Usually, if the LC doesn't state anything about the partial drawing, that means it's allowed partial shipments. That's what Article 30A says. I'm going to discuss about Article 31B. So, partial shipment means like this. So, I'll take an example. I don't know how you are taking down. You can, simultaneously you can draw the same sketch that I am doing. Right. So I drew a route here coming from China up to Sri Lanka. So I will take few seaports. So we'll say Ningbo, first one. Ningbo. Ningbo is a seaport in China. Right. Then I am coming to Osaka. Then I am taking one Seoul. Manila. Right. So just maybe factually it's not right geographically, but then I just took it on an ad hoc basis. A few seaports. Now, my vessel starts from Ningbo, and the desired destination for the vessel is Colombo. And there are stoppages in Osaka, Seoul, Manila, and Colombo before reaching Colombo. So from Ningbo, Ningbo, goods will be loaded on board the vessel. The vessel's name is V, right? And it comes to Osaka. So when the goods being loaded on board the vessel in Ningbo, we'll say day 1. And when the goods being loaded on board the vessel, what the ship captain gets from the carrier, a bill of lading. So you get a BL1. Now it comes to Osaka. So there will be another goods being placed on board the vessel, and it's on the day 2, and the BL given is BL2. Now there are 2 BLs, BL1 and BL2. Like it goes to Seoul and to Manila, right? So Seoul into day 3 and day 4 and reaches in day 5, right? Now see, but the essence that I'm trying to put across is there are multiples of BAs here. Multiples of BA. So when the documents come to Colombo, Colombo is the importing country, you get multiples of sets. BL1, BL2, BL3, there are going to be a lot of invoices coming from here, different sets. Right? And different dates of loading. Different dates of loading. And different dates of ports of loading also. So you get different dates of loading. And different ports of loading. Different ports of loading. And what is your word? Multiple sets of documents. This one you can see from here. Right? So if there are voyage coming from Ningbo to Colombo in this manner, right? It is not a partial shipment. It is not a partial shipment. Right? If the goods are being loaded in different days of loading and different ports of loading, the voyage will not, the presentation is not construed as a partial drawing or a shipment. Provided is coming to Colombo. Is coming to Colombo. Right? Right? Now, when I say coming to Colombo, in the sense like this, the BL1, BL2, BL3, BL4, like that, the multiple sets of BLs should have a port of loading and a port of destination. In this BL, the port of loading is Ningbo, Osaka, Seoul, Manila. But the port of destination in the BL1 should be Colombo. Osaka, not Seoul, but Colombo. Seoul, Colombo. Manila, Colombo. So that's the second qualification. They can have different ports of loading, different dates of loading, and multiple sets, obviously. And if it is stated for the same destined port, the same port, along the same journey, right? That will not be construed as a partial shipment. So you have to refer Article 31B carefully, read and understand. Right. I'll give a small scenario. Take this as a frontier. Frontier. Frontier means a dividing barrier on land, right? This is one country and this is one country. Both are land, right? So this is what you call a demarcation. That's what you call a frontier, right? A tipper truck with the load. We'll say the name of the truck is T. Goes through the frontier and unload the earth and come back and load it again and goes to the frontier and unload and comes back and load. So that's the multiple times it goes this way and coming. So there are different days of loading and different ports of loading also as well. Now this is not seaport, but this is a frontier. For the partial shipment, not only for seaports, right? Though I took an example for we go to Colombo, there are seaports. For any transportation, we should apply. Article 31 apply. So my question for you, this exercise for you now, is this constitute as a partial shipment? You can interact with me quickly because I have only 20 minutes now. Truck in from one country, takes earth and goes to other country to the frontier, unload the stuff, and the same truck comes back again and load the stuff and come back and comes again and goes like that multiple times. I'm asking whether this is a partial shipment. When we load the stuff from here, he will get T1. What is that? A truck receipt. So he goes and unloads. So he comes back again and loads again. So that is with a truck receipt 2. So he gets multiple sets of documents now. Right? My question is whether it's a partial shipment. Okay. You interact with me or try to chat with me quickly. I'll give 2 minutes. Yes, I'm waiting. So I'm asking whether it's a partial shipment or not. The truck is loading the earth or the rubble from one country and goes across the frontier to the next country, unloads stuff, come back again, loads the stuff, then he gets a truck receipt 2. He goes to the other country again, unloads the stuff and come back like that, and on multiple journeys he is doing. I'm just asking whether it's constitute a partial shipment according to the Article 31B. Yes, you can interact with me. Is it too tough? The question is. Vishwa, you are coming and saying it's not a partial shipment. Fine. Right. So you have taken into consideration that they have taken different dates of loading of the earth, and maybe different ports of loading of. I didn't mention that much because the loading of the earth could be from different ports, different from the places. Yes. So you have taken in that consideration. Anybody else? Thank you, Vishwa, for that comment. I just now saw the earlier comments also saying that the ink is not visible. I also guessed so, but then I think I got a proper pen afterwards. Anybody else? Anybody like to interact with me? Usually the people who talk with me, Gerald, yes? You have anything to say about it? Or you don't have a clue? Or difficult to determine whether it's a partial shipment or not? Okay, I will give a little bit of suggestion there because of time constraint, right? Now see, you have to read the article very carefully now, right? The presentation consists of more than one set of transport document evidence shipment commencing on the same means of conveyance. Same means of conveyance means you cannot have this truck going there and the next load cannot be loaded to a different truck. The same means of conveyance. So that is all right. I mean here, the vessel B is coming here, right? So it takes multiple things all right, but on the same truck, it goes unloaded, come back and going. Right. So means of conveyance, I hope that you are reading with me, right? Means of conveyance, and for the same journey, provided they indicate the same destination, fine. Indicate the same destination in this also, right? Will not be regarded as a covering a partial shipment. So where's the catch? Okay, I'll give a clue. I say it's a partial shipment. Now we say why. Doesn't matter, getting a little bit of time so that I'll be happy if you can understand that. So I'll give a clue. It's constituted a partial shipment. It is different from that to this. Why? That's one word. As I just rushed, you also have rushed it, you didn't see that properly. It's in this particular sentence. A presentation consists of more than one set of transport documents evidencing shipment commencing on the same means of conveyance and for the same journey, provided they indicate the same destination. In that particular phrase, you get the answer. The reason why I'm saying it's a partial shipment. Tell me why is that? Can you guess? Yes, Vishwa, can you guess?
It's the same destination.
It's the same destination, yes. It's the same destination because that's a good question actually. Because they are going and unloading at the same point. I was not that precise when I gave the question. Yes, I understand that. It takes the earth from elsewhere, all right, from the same country and goes and unload at the same pit. So the destination is same. The destination is same. But I say it's a partial shipment. Why is that? That's one word. There you are, Gerald. There you are. It's not the same journey. It's not the same journey. There are multiple of journeys. You are going in and coming out, going in, coming out. How many journeys you are doing? Multiple times. Not the same journey. That is why it's a partial shipment. Now say the other one, coming from Ningbo, Seoul, Manila, like that it goes to Colombo, is the same journey. It doesn't revert back to Ningbo again. Right? So the, what you call the voyage or the tour has to be the same journey. Understood? Right. Right. So I have little less than 4 hours now. So I will discuss about the back-to-back letter of credit, mechanism back-to-back letter of credit. So unfortunately, I had to have another session, not a half a session, for 1 hour session to cover the UCP. So next Sunday I'll cover the UCP and start with the past papers. And just a final request, correct if possible, March 18, September 18, and September 19 past papers. March 18, September 18, and September 19 past papers. Right. So I will touch on ad hoc basis on these 3 papers for the next few sessions until the end of September. Right. Provided that I won't get a call to leave before October, so I can continue in October, at least first week or second week, I do not know. As I told you all that I'm taking an overseas assignment, so waiting for the flights to get operated is the reason why the visas are also getting delayed. So very likely it will be end of September, and if gracefully get extended for first week or second week of October, I can be with you all and can do more past papers for the assignments. Otherwise, the next 3 sessions I will do the past papers. Make sure that you correct the 3 past papers and come next time. And I will do the transfer of letter of credit also in next Sunday. Today I will discuss about the back-to-back letter of credit, not in whole again. There are only 10 days left. March 18, September 18, September 19, remember? Right. Last time I think I gave you a grid related to the back-to-back letter of credit. In a back-to-back letter of credit, what you need to remember is you have an export LC, but you cannot, perform the export LC because you are not capacitated to do that. Say you got an order for finished products of 100,000 numbers. You don't have the capacity of doing that. So what you do is you import the shortfall or buy locally. Import the shortfall, not in raw material form, and for you to manufacture in the same manner, same product that you need to import. Right? Say you got an order for $100,000 LC for 100,000 worth of shirts. So you are the buyer or the importer, and from a seller, exporter. For that, you open LC favoring the seller. LC value is 100,000, and the description of the goods is 100,000 shirts. Now, when you say 100,000 shirts again, is what? Unitized cargo. Right. Now, the seller doesn't like to say that he doesn't have the capacity of making 100,000 finished products. Right? He can produce only 80,000 worth of shares, meaning $80,000 worth of shares. So balance $20,000 worth of shares for $10,000 LC or importation he has to do from elsewhere. So he imports from another person. We call the middleman, intermediary. Right? So for him to open an LC for $20,000, he has to go. Now the seller has become an importer. He has to go to his bank and tell the bank, look, if you allow me to open this LC, this account LC, or the baby LC, this is the baby LC. I'll call that as account LC. If you allow me to open the baby LC, I can perform this 100,000 worth of consignment. Then I will get $100,000 worth of cash, right? So if the bank agrees, they open this LC for $10,000 from a different supplier. Now this part, this particular buyer will not know. So you get a supplier here. So they will provide the 20,000 shirts, and the shipment will go here. He is the buyer of. He will consolidate the what you call the goods and send across the 100,000 shares in there. When the supplier sends the documents to this bank, this buyer will come and substitute it invoices in here. Now you know what his substitution is. He will substitute and he will send across the what you call the goods the documents for 100,000. Right? So that is what you call back to back, nothing else. Back to back. So we will go through the grid very carefully now. Right. So you have the same grid what I am showing just now. You must be having the same grid. You may have taken a printout, right? Last time I said this. So I'm looking at that and just drawing the sketches of that only. In the meantime, I can see a comment from Gerald Anthony's. Is there any possibilities that we could download past papers from the Google Classroom as mentioned in the IBS site? I'm not quite sure, son. How we are going to download the past papers? I don't have a clue actually. Right? I'll tell you. You speak to either Menaka or to Kavindra and try to sort out this. They will know. You know their telephone numbers, right? Right. Try to get what you call get on to Menaka or Kavindra, and see how you can get the past papers, right? Right. Now in the grid, I will not draw the same grid. That is up to you all to go through very carefully and take a little time and just go through the back-to-back LC mechanism. To understand the grid, I will tell you a little bit of hints here and there. You see, there's a wire with the applicant. Right? Then you get the middleman. Then you get the beneficiary. So LCP is open from buyer to the beneficiary by the sense the applicant to the beneficiary. Buyer is the sense the applicant to the beneficiary. This LC is called the master LC. Master LC. Master LC. $400,000. So beneficiary, when we see the LC, he will go to his bank and request the bank to open a baby LC. That is less than this. Say $30,000. So this bank will open this LC to favoring a party, and the documents will come and given to the beneficiary. So beneficiary, the said beneficiary now has become applicant for the baby LC. He is the beneficiary for the master LC and the applicant for the baby LC or the count LC. he clears the consignment. He clears the consignment because the bank has facilitated. That is why you call that the back-to-back LC. The count LC be backed by a big LC, master LC, the export LC. So he creates a consignment and gives the document, and what you call he creates a consignment and perform the master LC. And he will consolidate the 30,000 and the 8,000 worth of goods together and sent across. And the documents will be substituted under his name as if that he's the exporter. He is the exporter for the applicant, and he will consolidate the documents also and send across to the buyer. That will get negotiated. Right? So I'll do in detail again. And likewise, you have we can show the transferable letter of credit also. I will do that also in a bit of a slow pace. And this is a bit of a complicated area. So therefore, you need to read this and the transferable letter of credit beginning count. When I say read, don't read the article. Article counts in Article 38. Don't read the article that much. But read the bullets and try to understand the grid or the mass and count. That's all I need to know. And also, as somebody suggested, to figure out how you are going to get the past papers downloaded down to give the what you call the booklets. I need to do this at least 3 past papers before I wind up the session. Right. So I'll see you next Sunday again, and I will hope to do the in detail back-to-back letter of credit and the transfer letter of credit. Meaning the Article 38 will be concluded.